Noem, recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Ambassador, South Dakota's #1 industry is agriculture, so that's obviously a big priority for us. It supports over 20,000 jobs in the state. And when our ag sector hears about Japan's resistance on TPP negotiations to open it up and to have good discussion on products like pork and beef and dairy, that's alarming for many of them. And we tend to start losing support then for TPP, which I don't blame them because it is big issues back home. But while Japan argues that they're not taking any products off the table, they certainly are refusing to fully liberalize a lot of their individual tariff lines when it comes to those product categories. So that is a concern for me and not necessarily a question, just something I know we've discussed here today. But following up on that, Japan isn't the only country that's causing some concern. We're also looking at Canada and the fact that they're refusing to make any open offer on dairy, poultry, and egg markets. And so as a close neighbor to my home state, that is also very concerning for people back home, and another thing that we'll be watching very closely as the negotiations continue. But I did want to discuss with you the EU agreement a little bit. I know some of their ag tariffs are high and have to be reduced, but a lot of my producers back home are even more concerned about the non-science-based regulations that are blocking our country's market access. And so we need to rely on sound science when it comes to our trade standards. Would you expand on some of the key barriers that we do face when it comes to that agreement and what our exporters are dealing with, and how do you plan to address some of those barriers that are currently out there?
Sure. First, let me just say with regard to the Japan agriculture market access questions that you raised, we're working very closely with our commodity groups, beef, pork, dairy, et cetera, as we negotiate with Japan to ensure not just that all products are covered, but that there is commercially meaningful market access in our priority areas. And we'll stay closely in touch with you and them on that. With the European Union, we completely agree that it's not just an issue of tariffs, it's an issue of standards and making sure that those standards are science-based and that they're not using other restrictions, such as GIs, to keep our products out. And so that's the array of issues that we'll be engaging with them on. We know that they have certain sensitivities in that area, but we are committed to opening their market. Our ag exports have grown very significantly over the last several years to now over $150 billion, but our ag exports to the EU have been relatively flat during this whole period. And we want to make sure that our Made in America products could make it into those markets.
Great. Just a last comment that I would make is that we've been watching the dispute that's been going on at the ports as well. And we have a lot of products that need to be moved in a timely manner. So I know a resolution is being worked on, but I also wanted to emphasize how important it is to the products that are coming out of our state as well. So thank you for your time today.
Thank you.